I became my old boss's manager after getting the promotion he was told was his for years, then upper management blamed me when he quit even though I begged them weekly to give me something to keep him, so now I'm job hunting too because apparently I'm supposed to create magnetic team culture instead of, I don't know, fair compensation? Posted anonymously on Ask a Manager. I was recently promoted to a department director role, and while I'm very excited about my new responsibilities, I have a dilemma that I need some help with. One of my direct reports is my former boss who hired me into the company. Backstory: I've been here for 8 years. I was hired into a junior role by a middle manager in the department. Call him Tom. He was a great boss, and I learned so much in the years I worked for him. He's an all-around terrific supervisor who coaches well, provides clear goals, gives flexibility to meet those goals, provides opportunities to learn and grow, advocates for his team, the works. He's also a really good talent spotter. I counted it up. Of the 15 people Tom's hired in the past decade, all but a couple have risen in the ranks at our company, in our division and others where division executives have recruited them. After a few years working for him, a promotion opened up in our department, and Tom urged me to apply. I got it, became his peer, and built my own effective team using his style as my model. Last year, our department director, Mary, announced her intention to retire, and as his corporate policy, the job was posted. Tom applied, and I wasn't going to, but another colleague encouraged me to go for it. I did, impressed our relatively new division VP, and got the job. Tom congratulated me, and I prepared to take the job. Days after my promotion was announced, I found out through a colleague who was a mutual friend of both Tom and mine that Tom was very disappointed, even though he hasn't expressed that to me. Apparently, Mary and the previous division VP, who retired a year ago, had told Tom that he was a shoo-in to be promoted to Mary's role when she retired. In fact, I was told that he turned down some outside opportunities in the past couple years that would have paid more because he was anticipating getting this promotion. As I've stated, he's a great employee and manager who would have done a great job. I had no idea that this was Tom's expectation, and when I learned, I felt a little guilty about even applying for the job. A few weeks later, I had to do the annual update of our internal succession plan documents, and Tom was listed as the designated preferred internal successor for my job. Tom has been nothing but professional and complimentary with me, but now I'm really concerned about how I can manage him effectively. I really need him to stay. He has long-standing personal relationships with all the key clients my department works with. I led the operations side, so I was less involved with clients. If he left suddenly, we would be in a real bind, partly because of his success with hiring good talent. That good talent has moved up within the company, and now his team is all relative newbies hired in the past few years who are all still building their own client relationships. I recently met with HR and our division VP, and they emphasized the need to keep Tom on staff due to his role as a talent spotter and for his client relationships. I asked about getting him a raise and seeing if we can do an intermediate promotion, but our corporate structure is pretty stratified, and there's really nothing between his level and mine. What do you recommend to navigate the potential awkwardness of managing my former boss, as well as keeping him happy despite his disappointment in not getting this job, and his missing out on the raise that came with it? Update 1 month later. Thank you so much for answering my question. I have an update that is pretty much what you expected. Tom gave notice this week. He has gotten a job as head of sales and marketing for a small but fast-growing startup that produces a similar set of products to the one my team is responsible for. It sounds like a perfect setup for him. They are ramping up with additional product development, he'll get to lead a big team, he will be paid more plus get equity, which we don't have available to us. And even though the company is based elsewhere, he'll work remote from our city. Tom's timing was very strategic. Our company had a very broad non-compete in place that would have barred Tom from making the move he did, but there's been a case with a former employee challenging the non-compete. A week before Tom gave notice, the non-compete was invalidated in court, and Tom gave his notice before the company was able to draft a narrower one for everyone to sign. It seems clear he was waiting for that decision to make his move. I'm actually worried. He knows our clients really well, and Tom's new company's product is frankly superior to our legacy product. I had hoped to get more client exposure for my newer team members, but there's only so much opportunity in the space of a couple months. We'll see what happens. For what it's worth, I kept trying to get my boss and HR to give me something tangible to incentivize him. I raised this with my boss in person at every one-on-one and documented my concern that Tom was a flight risk in emails at least once a week. And I'm more than worried. I think I should leave myself. After Tom gave notice, my boss and HR hastily put together a counteroffer that still didn't equal his new offer. I told them this was a bad move, and I thought it would be tone-deaf and disrespectful to Tom, but my VP directed me to make it. Tom obviously refused. Then the COO, who my VP reports to, came to my office and said that Tom was very important to the company and asked why I hadn't done more to keep him. I was so frustrated with this. I told her that I had been pushing and pushing for something to offer Tom and had been turned down, and that I would be happy to share the email back and forth. She responded that money isn't everything. If you want to succeed, you need to create a team culture that is magnetic to people like Tom. Well, that sealed it for me. I'm a manager, not a miracle worker. I guess I wasn't exposed to this kind of weirdness from our higher-ups before my promotion, but I don't want to stick around if those are the expectations I have to labor under. I'm trying to figure out my own exit now. I'm really grateful in all this for the grace with which Tom handled this. When he gave notice, he confirmed everything I'd heard from our mutual friend but emphasized that he had no hard feelings against me, and that he thought I was a great team leader and manager. He said he would have been happy to work under me if the company had come through with the money to match his promised promotion, and that he was leaving not because of me but because of the broken promise. I asked why he hadn't raised the concerns to me before, and he said he didn't want to put me in an awkward position or feel bad about my own achievement. He only brought it up because I asked in his notice conversation. Not a great update, but probably not a surprising one either. Thanks for answering my question. Update 2, 8 months later. Over the 6 months since I last wrote to you, things deteriorated for my team. We lost about a quarter of our contracts that were renewing during this period and only won a single new one. While half-heartedly job searching during this time, I built out a strategic plan for renewing our product and recapturing market share from Tom's company and other competitors, but had a hard time getting buy-in from my still fairly new VP and division chief, who was concerned about the top-line revenue figures. My argument was that we weren't going to beat a new competitor without investing in a new version of our product. But VP and management spent too long, in my opinion, weighing all the options. The virus ended up making the decision for us. Management entered extreme cost-cutting mode, looked at the trend line for my product, and put it in maintenance and legacy mode. They laid off the entire team of 16, except for 2 product engineers who will continue to maintain the software during the legacy period with our existing clients. On April 15th, I was out of a job. Not a week went by when I got an email from Tom. His startup has been growing like crazy, bringing in new clients over the past 6 months, and in response to the pandemic, they built, in a matter of days, a new software product to help our clients streamline delivery of a big part of the federal relief funds. New clients are joining even faster than before. The company is now 100% remote and bringing on new staff and needed someone to bring some order to the behind-the-scenes chaos, so Tom recommended me to be head of internal operations, overseeing HR, purchasing, facilities, systems administration, that kind of thing, a role, as in many startups, previously divided between several executives who were now too busy and needed to focus on their core duties in engineering, design, sales, etc. I started 2 weeks ago and have been loving it despite some 60-plus hour weeks bringing order to the chaos. Not to mention I got a big pay raise, equity, etc., and I get to keep working in my city indefinitely. I never expected that I would end up Tom's peer again at another business, but I feel so grateful for the chance to build something new, and I am very glad I invested in keeping a good relationship with Tom despite the awkwardness of the situation last summer. It paid off.